What is happening, Christian? You tell me.
Great question. It was an amazing event. I mean, we had a room packed of people.
Yep.
And I love the fact that when we asked them, how many of you are like using AI every month, week, day, multiple times, I think we still had like almost all the hands in here.
Yeah.
So it was a very, I think probably one of the most tech-savvy groups we've had here in Stockholm. Is that the norm here, Johannes?
I would want to say yes, but I think the honest answer is no. But I agree, and we also asked them as well, like how many people are using Lovable at some kind of regular cadence, or at least have tried it. And almost 1/3 of the room said, "I've tried it. I've never experienced that."
Yeah, it's very high.
Yeah, it says something also about tech adoption in the group, I think, as well. I would say it's not maybe particularly significant for HR as a whole, unfortunately, but still, no, but fantastic. It was super energizing event, and a lot of good questions and a lot of good comments from the audience as well.
I think, like, if I think about some of the things you were saying, I love the way you were kind of explaining how, like, people should get started. Like, so if somebody wants to get started with AI, what should they do? I mean, could you kind of just repeat some of the things, like highlights that you said in the room? Like, if I'm an HR manager, I want to start using AI more, see that value. What should I do?
First and foremost, set aside time. I think it's important to acknowledge that this will take some time of your busy day. And I mean, we all have busy days. And it requires an effort. It requires that you put aside time and that you do that consciously, not saying, oh, I will use AI whenever it suits me. Make it a conscious effort. Okay, I will use AI at this time, whether it's using an agentic workflow or if it's using Copilot, ChatGPT, whatever it might be, but do it consciously. Because as with all things that you do, you need to start somewhere. And when you start with something, you need to have mental focus on the things that you do. Then gradually that will just automatically move into your everyday, and you will have an agent here or use ChatGPT there. But at the start, if you're struggling to get started, make it a conscious effort. I think that's important.
And can it just be any tool? Can I just go like at the event now, for example, we were asking people like, what are the best tools that you're using for AI? And all of the examples that people mentioned, they weren't like HR specific tools. They were generalistic tools. They were things like Gamma and Runway and Lovable and ChatGPT and all these. Like, it was interesting. Is that what people should do? Just play with anything?
And so I don't think you should play with anything. I think you should play with a tool that you think, at least you need to have an initial hypothesis around this will create value for me, or I will have some benefit back from the tool, whether that is ChatGPT, Copilot, Gamma, Lovable, whatever it might be, it doesn't matter. But you need to have an initial hypothesis, I believe at least, to go into this as well. But what's your perspective on that? Do you think that you can use any tool or a specific tool, or?
Yeah, what's often missing. So I think, yes, you should definitely play with a bunch of things and see how people are using the products. I think that's a really good start. And whether it's your email you use every day. So every product you have is now basically getting amplified with AI. And the tools that don't do that, they're probably going to be missing out. So, and if the tools aren't doing it, sure, you could maybe have a workflow builder to amplify it, but like, this is the facto. But I think if you're truly thinking about solving a problem, like I think having an approach where you have some sort of a sense of, first of all, what is the problem I want to solve? Hopefully it's something that would be impactful, maybe low-hanging effort to build. Start with something simple, and then learn how to solve that simple thing, see the value, and then you can start to adapt it to something more complex. And so when you have a problem, I think like sometimes people just forget that starting point of just like, how do I do this today? How could I potentially do this with AI? And then try that. Like, that is sort of the method that I would approach it with.
I love that as well. And especially last part, like, could I solve that with AI? I think that that mindset, if you just have that mindset, this is a problem, this is challenging to some extent, could I solve it with AI? I think that takes you quite a long way, because then at least, even if you're unable to solve it with AI, then you know that I wasn't able to solve it with AI. Well, that's information as well, and then you can internalize that as well.
And even brainstorm about it. Just like have team, like, how could we do it, and just figure out how might we, and just how might we is, I think, a great way to word the question, because then anyone can say, how might we? It's not like this is the way it's going to be done, and then you kind of figure out what is the most interesting part. And there was this woman I spoke with after the event, actually. And she was saying, like, in her mind, like, oh, the problem I have is, okay, there's an employee request that comes in. And she's always waiting for her supervisor or somebody to approve something. So it's always stuck there. And there's a ton of people waiting for that person to do something. And she's like, I can't have just an AI automatically do it. And then it was like, but what if you would not have the AI do it, but the AI would just draft what it thinks you should do? And the person would just click a button, yes, and it seeds the suggestion because that could really save time. And she was like, brilliant. So there's all sorts of ways. It doesn't have to do it fully automatically.
And you shouldn't underestimate the power of asking an AI as well. I'm stuck here. What do I do? Because it can also nudge you in different ways so where you can actually solve the problem as well. But I saw that also, this is maybe a side note, but still I saw that you used Superhuman. I love Superhuman, by the way. It's one of the most amazing tools where I think also the world is heading, where AI is embedded into a tool natively, where you can just use it as you would do in your daily sort of communications. And I think it doesn't need to be that dramatic.
Yeah, that's embedded vertically. Like you just say, can we meet for dinner at 7? You just kind of go right with the AI, yes, and it will just kind of draft, yes, we can meet at 7 or something, and it just saves you that mental kind of thinking part. So it can be minutes saved per email or seconds saved per email, but if you do that for the entire year, you really get the benefits back.
Exactly, and I think that's a good way to approach AI as a whole as well. Can it save me time every a bit here, a bit there, and then combined, that's a saved effort as well. And
that brings me to one of the favorite things I think you said at the event: when to automate.
No.
When should someone automate something, Johannes?
When should someone automate? So my rule of thumb is if I do it 5 times a month and it takes me 5 minutes every time I do it or more, then I try to automate it. And in all honesty, I've been successful with this, and I've successfully automated steps of my working process. Sending offers, for example. I do that quite frequently to clients, and I have an automation for that, or an agent that takes into consideration, this is what I should do, and then sends an offer.
So wait, let me do the math on this really quick one. So you say you do it 5 times a month.
Yep.
It takes you 5 minutes.
Or more.
So let's say 5 minutes. So that's 25 minutes a month.
Yep.
So that's 300 minutes a year. It's 5 hours a year, basically.
Yeah.
If you're spending a minimum of 5 hours per year, and how long does it take you to automate those kind of things?
It depends on the complexity.
Okay.
But and it also it requires me to have the right mindset as well. Do I really want to automate this? Do I see the benefit beyond? Because I might learn something along the way.
Yeah.
While automating this process as well. But usually, so far, it's always worth it, some way or another. If not for the sheer hours saved, which is usually the case because it doesn't take that long to build automations.
Yeah.
If not for that, then at least for the knowledge that I obtain while doing it as well. And obviously I know my circumstances are a bit different maybe than compared to others, but I still think the mindset of if I save hours, if it takes me less than 5 hours, I've won, right?
Yeah, exactly.
I've won. It's as simple as that. And usually it takes minutes to build something.
When do you stop trying to automate it? So you spent 10 hours.
If you ask my wife, never.
5. You just keep at it.
Exactly, keep at it until very late in the evening as well. No, but so one example which I tried, I don't know how many times I tried this, was to build some kind of scheduling bot for a client. So I have this scheduling issue. I need to schedule these people. You need to take into consideration the Swedish work legislation and also the personal circumstances of the people. Could we automate that? And I don't know. I spent 25, 30 hours trying to automate it.
That's a long time.
And failed.
Yeah.
So that was maybe too long, but you learn along the way as well. And now this was a year ago, but now it's possible. So I used my knowledge from back then when I spent a lot of time with it. And now when I went at it again, when we had new models, new ways of working, new agent capabilities, just went on it again. And then I had my knowledge from trying to build it. And then it took me roughly 2 hours to build it.
And I love that. And of course, like this is a new type of skill. Like HR hasn't typically historically been like mapping up processes or building agents or whatever we call it. So now there's all of a sudden supports to do that. So I'm trying to figure out, so you're an HR manager, you haven't really automated your workflows and processes. Now you might be able to do it. Like you should take the time, but how do you do it? Do you take like 1 day a week or do you take 1 hour first hour of the day? Like what are we seeing that people are doing?
So I mean, the most critical thing is to choose the kind of tool that you're going to use. I think
But how do you do that?
Yeah, but you need to be out and about. You need to talk to vendors like yourself, like others. Like you need to get a cohesive picture of the landscape, which is super hard. I understand that, but the alternative is that you don't you do nothing, or you just end up with some vendor that you don't know, will it suit me? Or so you need to be a bit cautious and mindful about, okay, what's in it for me? What's the type of processes, what's the type of events that I want to have this agent work with? And then go out and look and talk to vendors. Yeah, it's a crucial first step. You need to be out and about. If not, just stuff will happen to you.
Yeah.
But then once you've chosen a tool, and then choose a tool that is easy to work with, so you don't have to run to IT all the time.
Yeah.
I think that is super crucial, because they will always be the bottleneck, and they used to be the bottleneck at all times in the past as well. So you had to run to IT all the time and ask, hey, can you help me with this? Can you help me with that? Choose a tool that you can with ease implement yourself, because once again, they're not that hard to work with, in all honesty, as long as you have chosen the right tool. So choose a tool and then start playing around with it as well, get help from your vendor or from IT to do it in a demo environment, so you can try things and start small and understand the logic behind things as well. So if I do that, what happens in the other end, what comes out in the other end, and then scale from there as well. But then once again, time, like you need to set aside time after that, to work it through, to learn the skills. But it's not that hard. Like the technology part is not that hard. I think it's more advanced to make sure that people are using the agent in the right way once it's launched, and that you maintain the agent once it's launched. So you have that in control as well. So it's more of a, I like to call it more of a almost like product manager skill that you need to obtain as a HR person. Okay, how do I build something that people actually use? So.
And how does that? So you got to invest the time to do it, but do you need like I'm sometimes hearing like people love to do something, but they're like getting the managers on board. Like how do you convince a manager, for example, if you are reporting to someone, how do you get that person to say, yes, you should now start spending time on something that you've never done before and automating your work, and you're not going to bother IT, and it's going to work. Like how do you? What's the pitch here?
No, but so for me, it's always about what's in it for them. If you look at what's the drivers and motivations of your manager, then like what kind of limelight will the agent put them in? What kind of benefits will they reap from you implementing this as well?
Yeah.
To make it about them, less about yourself. That's always my go-to when trying to obtain something. It depends on your manager, of course. Like some managers, they don't care about vanity or what's in it for me at all. So that might just fall short there as well. So, but look to, okay, what's in it for them and for the organization as a whole as well. Like, where does this fit into the bigger picture?
So like the benefit, like the time saved or the money saved,
exactly.
or some like the productivity increase, something like that. It's like the key, some sort of a report or docs that make sense that prove it.
And it might be that it takes a while, once again, going back to the scheduling example. It might be 20 hours down the drain.
Yeah.
But is it really then 20 hours down the drain? I would argue not, because you learn, hopefully you don't spend 20 hours as well, but you still learn along the way. And if you position it as a learning opportunity rather than, okay, this is a magic solution that will solve all our problems.
Yeah.
So this is the opportunity for me to learn. It will cost this amount of money, but take it on my learning budget. People are more prone to, we can experiment with that then.
There's a question that's often used in my company that I learned years ago from a mentor. It's a question, what needs to be believed?
Mm-hmm.
And I love to ask this question. And we often have this, like, what needs to be believed? Like, we're going to write it down, because if that's believed, then this will, if that's true, then this will happen, basically. One of those beliefs is that if you make it easier for people to build workflows, people who have not been able to do so because they lack the technical capabilities or something, they will be able to do it. That's like the main mantra that we have as an org, and to lower the threshold because it will give people agency. So I'm going to ask you, do people in HR today, do they have agency to build workflows in general? Like, not just like, are they able to do stuff that they couldn't do before with AI? And if so, how? Like, what's some examples?
So, I mean, if you look at the general HR person, I would say the answer is no. But if you look at people who are really obtained the skills of AI, and they're into AI, and they understand that this is crucial not only for me, but for the organization as a whole, and there are plenty of examples of that, they obtain that as well. And the interesting part is that it's not that advanced once again. Like, it's not that they've, all of a sudden I can now program in C# and like magically. It's not that. It's just that they understand the concept of, okay, what's my HR role? Okay, I want to make an impact or a dent in the organization. I want to push the organization forward. I want us to be more effective in obtaining our business goals or organizational goals, whatever it might be.
Yeah.
how do I get there? What's my method of getting the organization to the end goal that I'm looking for? And then they see AI agents or AI as one tool in their toolkit. So they've added, if you have a toolbox, they basically added yet another tool into the toolbox, saying like, I can now use a hammer, but I can also use a screwdriver if I want to. It depends on the situation. But they really make sure that they know them properly how to use the screwdriver, and they know the ins and outs. So if I twist it that way, the bolt goes in. If I turn it that way, the bolt goes out. They understand the fundamentals of it. They can't make this, like if you ask them, can you make me a screwdriver, like not the drink, but the actual tool?
Yeah.
Can you make me, no, I don't know how to make it, but I know how to use it. So they've obtained that skill set. This is how I use it.
I love that one because this came up in some of the conversations at lunch and at the event as well. We had you described this. You're good at wording things. Yeah. So there was this question where they said something like you don't just buy like an AI solution and will solve your problems and will just like you don't have to show up for work anymore. It's just gone. You have to do certain type of work and like you have to teach it to do it. You have to have an understanding of the problem so it can work. Can you elaborate a little bit on what you mean by that?
No, but so I mean, you have to fall in love with the problem to some extent. You need to understand what's the business problems, where's the tight sectors, what processes are causing harm or just taking time, or it might. I love automating processes that are super boring as well, because why would you have a process that is super boring if you can just automate it and make it fun, right? Or spend your time elsewhere where you can actually have fun. It's so, but it's work life sometimes, it's just stupid because we do stuff that no one likes, that caters for nothing and creates no value. But we still do it because we need to have the process. So why not look to automate things that are boring and repetitive and just plain stupid sometimes. Not maybe stupid, but still you get the gist of it. But so fall in love with the problem and also making sure that you see the bigger picture and you put in the reps as well to make it work. Once again, it's rare that you find this magic solution from anyone that just automatically solves everything. You need to understand, what am I solving for? How am I solving for that problem? And what's the outcome that I'm looking for as well? And you need to then measure and follow, so the tool or even the person as well. Sometimes the answer is you hire someone that does this. You need to make sure that, are they doing the right thing? Are the tools doing the right thing? Are the humans doing the right thing? So you need to be adamant of, this is the problem, this is how I'm going to solve it.
So I have a question. So I had this hypothesis that I shown up earlier today, where you have, the future of HR. It's going to be an HR manager. Instead of just hiring people to do a task, you'll hire a person and will map up their processes and have AI agents do a lot of those tasks. You'll have a human in the loop in the right place. First question is, do you agree that you think that's what's going to happen? And second is, how many HR teams are going to be there in 2 years?
So first question, will it happen? Yes. Like, I'm a firm believer that will happen. Yeah. I'm not fully sure exactly how yet, but that it will happen. I see it to some extent already, that you have part of sort of an agentic workflow, an agentic worker somewhere that helps you with different skills. Once again, for most people in HR, if you don't acquire that skill of managing AIs, someone else will. So I think that you'll be obsolete basically in HR if you don't obtain the skills of understanding. Once again, you don't need to be technical, but you need to have rudimentary understanding of how can you build agentic workflows. So, and that sort of answers your next question as well. I think that HR teams will have that capability. I think that you'll see more and more add-ons into HR teams where you have agents doing part of work, and you also have then human workers working. You work alongside basically. My hypothesis as well is that you'll also have AI managers throughout the organization. So you have an orchestration AI, basically orchestrating agents, perhaps saying like, okay, you need to do that, you need to do that. Much like if you request an Uber outside of here, it's not a human connecting you to the right driver. It's an AI seeing, okay, Kristján wants to go to the airport. Okay, this person is closest, he is almost free, and then they connect the two of you. So he'll get the work order, and hopefully you end up at Arlanda. And I think that will happen in workflows as well, where we have a manager AI sort of orchestrating work, maybe to agents, but maybe also to humans. Who knows in the future? Maybe not in 2 years, but yeah.
No, I think it's great.
What do you think? Well,
Yeah, I mean, when it comes to the future of HR, I am confident that it's gonna it kind of brings me back to this: what needs to be believed. I'm confident that we'll see HR managers in general having a cluster of different agents, and those agents will take care of different tasks. Some of them will be fully automated. As an example, somebody applies for a job. I think you'll screen the candidates and bring a report fully automated to your desk. It doesn't mean it's going to take away the interview part or the deep human connection you make, but I think everything that is manual can be automated, and it will be up to that HR manager to decide if they want all of it or part of it, and they will have tools that help them do that. So I think that's the part. So basically, you're saying, like, what I'm saying is, the role of the HR manager is going away from this old role where you just did like manual hard work on the desk, and you're kind of becoming this tech savvy person that like runs the processes of the org that should empower your people, you know, and sure, you might have other people in the team as well, of course, and different roles, but like the function is going to have that.
Yeah.
And it's I like your approach that you mentioned, like there might be something above that helps everyone, because this is going to happen in marketing as well, and sales as well.
Absolutely.
So there might be like this centralized thing that helps them out, but this is where we're heading.
Yeah.
And I think it's going to happen across everything in society. I think every single machine that gets built, like your lawnmower, is going to be automated if you want to. Yeah. The companies building hardware, they're going to have an AI department, and they're going to have a hardware department, and they're going to work together. Yeah. That's where we're heading.
So my wife works at Husqvarna. They build lawnmowers. Yeah. So I know all about it. But it's but I think you're right, but I think it's also important to understand from an HR perspective that we now have this sort of almost golden opportunity to move into this area where we take parts of, because traditionally things like agents or chatbots or whatever it might be, it was IT's department. Yeah. But we have now the ability from HR side to move into this area, to this space, and say, like, we take parts of this. Yeah. And if we don't do that, I'm 100% certain that someone else will. I think IT will then say, oh, but we can take parts of HR. It's not at all like we have a couple of people doing it and we have a couple of agents do it, and we know agents. So I'm also cautious for my occupation that we move into this space for the sake of that we need to keep at it, basically.
I also think, like, we had this analysis the other day, which we analyzed who is being most successful in, doing automated processes with AI. Who's doing the best job, and what are the characteristics? What are the things that are happening? And this is hard to figure out, but we took some data together and we analyzed it, and it looks like you have to have someone in the org that wants change. So it was kind of interesting. Like, either the person buying it, like the HR champion or whatever, needs to be there, or their managing team, or someone on their team. Like, there needs to be somebody who is, I'm going to make this better, and I'm going to push it. And if you don't have that, if it gets kind of bought without that, it will fail every single time. I've never seen it work unless you have that kind of empowering move. And then there's all sorts of ways above that on how you can make it better. But and so I'm trying to figure out, like, how do you create that spark? How do you do it?
And that's the $1 million question. Yeah. It is really a $1 million question. But I think, once again, what I like to think about is what's in it for me. Like, if an individual can find, this is what's, I can see the benefit. I can see clearly that if I do this, I get this. Yeah. If you can find that spark in people.
So just one problem.
Yeah.
One problem, one solution.
And don't make it harder than this. Yeah. Simplify. Think about something that, once again, that you do on a regular basis, or that you, in your whole gut, whenever that task pops up in your workflow, or your manager asks you to do that. Like, what if you could solve that with AI, or could get ease or make it easier with AI? Yeah. Then solve that then with AI, and connect it back to your own sort of day-to-day work, your own life. Make it important for you, make it important for the person as well. Yeah. If you can find that, usually people then, even people who are, because I train a lot of people, and usually people are super resistant to, I don't want to have, I hate AI, I don't want to work with it, it's horrible, keep it away from me, please. Even those people, when you make it about them, and when they see value, this is the value that I get. Even then, or sometimes then at least, they flip and say, like, oh, I can see the benefits. Like, I might look, like it fully, but I see the benefit at least. And for me, that's a win. And that's how you start as well. Like you have to start slow, and you also have to be honest upfront about that. Not everything is solvable with AI. Not everything is it's not only glimmer and gold. It's also downsides, and you talk about that as well. And people have fears, and you talk about the fears, and you're open and honest, and you create an environment, or hopefully you create an environment in organizations where people can also say that, hey, I don't like what will happen with me in all of this, and that where they feel safe and heard and all of that as well. So
I have two final questions I want to ask you. The first is more local.
yeah.
So we're here in Sweden.
Yep.
You're from Sweden.
I'm from Sweden.
But you work with companies worldwide.
Yes.
You've seen HR here, seen HR there. We were at an event where we asked people what tools they're using. They were very tech savvy. Mm-hmm. Are the Nordics ahead or behind when it comes to HR and AI and adapting in their orgs? And who is leading the way? Who's doing the most amazing things? If you kind of look at it in a country, if that makes sense to do.
So, I mean, in general, we're behind. That is my general sentiment. If you look at the average Swedish organization, we're behind compared to people that work within the UK or in the US, even in Germany. We're slightly behind on the general, I would say, especially compared to Europe, very behind compared to the US. The ones that are doing it really, really well in Sweden. So what I really like, it's a Swedish authority called Läkemedelsverket. It's they oversee, I don't even know the English word for it, but they oversee all medical rules basically in Sweden. They're super advanced. They have an IT department that is super passionate about this. They have an HR department that is super passionate about this, and they have managers who are really keen on using it as well. So it's
why? What did they do?
No, but it started based on your question as well. Like you have someone in the IT department being very sort of, I love AI and I will make it work. So he built his own chatbot in the basement, trained it on their data. It's super safe. You can almost use it on anything. On the very sensitive information, like the highest sensitivity class that they have, they can't use it. But up until that, which is really, 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 really high.
Yeah.
They're an authority. They have very strict data governance rules.
Yeah.
But they managed to classify it in a way that is super secure up until the very top.
That's amazing.
So I mean, they're super, super far ahead.
Yeah.
They don't talk about it. They just do it. And I love that. So we have that, and we also have the energy company in Sweden, Vattenfall. It's also super far ahead. They built their own model. They're trained their people. They're doing amazing initiatives when it comes to building agentic workflows, thinking holistically about processes, and challenging themselves basically about doing that. So even though we're behind on a general sort of schedule, we also have fantastic examples in Sweden as well.
Amazing. Final question. I always ask this. Yeah. And people don't know in front, so it's kind of a tricky thing. But you're an expert in the field. People come to you and to learn and hear, what you're working on and seeking your services and advice. Who do you look at? Who are your mentors, influencers? Yep. What are the books to read, the podcasts to watch? What's your go-to?
So I have several. So I have Ethan Mollick, always Ethan Mollick. Ethan Mollick is, I read everything he produces. I feel sometimes like a stalker because I go in at night before I go to bed and read his whole...
Is this in English, all of it? Or
all in English, all in English, Ethan. And then, so I'm part of a couple of Discord communities, and I've been for quite a while. And so obviously a lot of people there are super advanced. I don't know who they are. But I used to read their stuff and I share my stuff as well. So we go back and forth on that as well. It's super inspiring. I've been part of that since almost 3 years now. Yeah. And then Reddit. So I read a lot of things on Reddit as well, just for inspiration as well. And I always try to go outside of HR. So I rarely follow people in HR for inspiration in this field because, in all honesty, most people are a bit behind. Okay. There's not that many people that I trust in this area. Yeah. Hang Lee, which I know that you know as well, is one of the rare occasions. I love his newsletter. I read it all the time. It's one of the best newsletters out there.
Been doing it for years.
I mean, I know him since way back as well. So, but Hang is one of the rare people that I actually follow in HR, which is also now he's partly in the AI space at least. Yeah. But then I have I don't even know what his name is, but he writes a newsletter called Ben's Bites. Yeah. Which is also amazing. So Ben's Bites, Hang Lee's newsletter, Ethan Mollick's newsletter. And then it's almost shameful to admit because you shouldn't be on X, but I'm still on X a lot. So I read a lot from and I follow almost yeah, all the people I can find from all the big labs, I follow on X as well to get insights, because a lot of conversation is still happening there in regards to this is the model that we're releasing, this is what we're working on as well, to sort of knit together.
You just go
pieces.
straight to the source.
Straight to the source. Try to do that as much as possible. And then YouTube. Like, I don't know how many YouTube channels I follow that talks about how to build stuff, do stuff, create stuff as well. But I mean, I spend an unhealthy amount of my time watching, listening to stuff. And that is, I've been doing that for so many years, because that's what energizes me as well. So,
well, the rest of us are very thankful for that.
I don't know, but that is what I do, and I really love doing that as well. So, and every time, like, if we have, you know, for whatever occasions I miss out on a couple of podcasts or some YouTube videos that I really want to watch, like I feel like, I feel the urge, like, it's my happy place. That's where I go to, like, okay, find energy and inspiration. So I love doing it.
It's been amazing, Johannes.
Thank you.
Really
thank you for having me.
Super.
Exciting.
Super fun to be here.
Thank you.
Cheers.